Hello and welcome to another League of Legends guide. In this one we're going to be looking at 3 most powerful strategies you should be harnessing in your games in order to give you the best chance to win. In this early Season 9, the way we go about the game needs to be filled with more purpose, and hopefully these tips will guide you in the right direction. Now, we did review a strong Evelynn game and Vi game in the new nerf jungle recently, but now we're going to take a look at how better to use additional general strategies to really get that early season win streak going. If you want more videos like this with general tips, don't forget to hit that like button. And before we begin our breakdown, I want to thank ProGuides who helped sponsor this video. As most of you know, it has been around for many years and it is a platform designed for you to quickly learn and rank up in League of Legends. There are hundreds of in-depth videos and courses that are available to you if you want to take your game to the next level quicker. You can take just 15 seconds for your free sign up and save yourself loads of time by speaking to master and challenger tier players through the Genius system, where you can interact with guides designed to solve your problems. The Pro plan is also available to you, pays for itself, and is a fun way to learn and climb for those looking for that competitive edge. So without further delay, the first thing I want to talk about is using the most powerful objective on the map to snowball a game, and that's Rift Herald at the moment. Way too often people have been using it incorrectly to the point that, even as a support, I make the Rift Herald calls myself and pick it up. I mean, look at this example. The Lee Sin has Herald, which he snuck over me while I was on the other side of the map, ganking bot lane, and as I'm looking around the map, which you should be doing by clicking on the minimap or using your F keys, I catch a glimpse of the Rift Herald being activated. Immediately I alter my pathing to intercept. But should Lee Sin have even bothered using it at that point? And the answer is no. They had numbers on the mid lane and were 1 or 2 waves from securing our mid tower regardless. He had loads of time left remaining, and there was no rush to use it. Instead, the Rift Herald has now instantly died after taking the mid, and they hardly got any relevant play out of it. Now actually taking the Rift Herald by yourself is really reasonable if you can do it at a decent pace, and either sneak it away from the enemy by standing at the back of the pit outside of potential vision. This works very well if you're on the red side, or simply while you keep an eye on the map movements of the enemy and ensure no one is around you, or perhaps you've seen the enemy jungle on the bottom lane, maybe he's making a gank there, the mid is back, you can easily take that for yourself. Now there are definitely better mechanics to take it faster by waiting around, moving before the auto attack animation so you can guaranteed hit that eye on the back, along with some other mechanisms, but we'll focus here on the situation, when to take it and how to use it. So either sneaking it away from the enemy while they make a group play on the bottom side or somewhere else, which is a great play for your neutral game or slightly behind by the way. If you have a lead and you can simply fall back to it after skirmish, that's much easier, but when a window of opportunity opens and you can be in any position to make that call, do it. Now, especially if you are a jungler and you've secured that Rift Herald before the 14-minute mark where the tower plates fall off, and you can use it on one of those towers, that can be really beneficial to your laner and your team, especially after a gank. Much like what this Nidalee does. You see it, the huge chunk of gold they get, they are able to finish off the tower with the minion wave that they have to support them, and then they leave the Rift Herald to go and get one more slice on the inner tower. Now, if you can also use it on the final 2-3 plates before 14 minutes, that can give you a huge chunk of gold and positive time advantage. Because the resistance scaling on that tower as the plates fall increases, the true damage of the Rift Herald negates that and gives you that insta boom. But as you can see, the way the Nidalee used it also works out well, taking a whole bunch of plates in one go. Now, this situation won't always be possible where you can solo it and you get a gank off and you can get the first tower with all the plates, so therein lies the question. When exactly do we use the Rift Herald? These usages can vary drastically, but the primary goal should be to ensure you can at least take 1 tower, guaranteed, and ideally 2, or at the very least getting a nice chunk on a subsequent tower after that first Rift Herald charge. An excellent Herald usage and kind of hard push play can completely win a game simply through how much the map opens up, how much gold you get from that kind of play, as well as tilting the enemy. There's nothing worse than having a neutral game blown open by 1 fight and a 3-tower Herald push, as you see here. The main thing is firstly not to use the Rift Herald when you have a minion wave and you're going to kill the tower anyway. Because you lose HP on the Herald, you lose timing on the charge, and thus lessen its damage and survivability for the rest of the push. Let's rewind, and you can see here in this example the Fiddle sees that those final 2 plates are up and activates the Herald. However, we are so far in front and all grouped together this game that we melted the tower anyway. He should have saved it for the next push on the tower just to maximize her lifespan. However, it doesn't change the outcome in this instance, and we're able to actually keep the push going, and the enemy team is completely demoralized and spread out. The Herald pushes occur when there are dead enemies, when you have strong pushes in side lanes, when you have a numbers advantage. you don't want to use the Herald in front of the entire enemy team on a full HP tower with no minions, because the Herald's going to charge in, they're going to be able to kill it very easily, and the impact is lost. If you have won a fight or they're showing numbers in another lane, you can use that Rift Herald to secure a first tower, or in a tower as a momentum play that forces the enemy to rotate, and then you're not so much concerned about the minion wave purely because there will be no one there to clear it and the minions will catch up to your push. It draws the focus of the whole game to where the Herald is, and using it at the right time when you have numbers can completely break open a game. So it is always best used after a fight when no one can defend and you can try and get at least 2 towers from the push. Alternatively to simply using it in a reaction to a one fight, or to the enemy perhaps being somewhere else on the map, if everyone goes back and you have, no pressure to defend, you can use it then also, but the possibility of using it when there is a fight breaking out and you just won't arrive in time. Or maybe your team's chasing, maybe someone's split pushing in another lane. Using that Herald to ensure at least 1 tower is gained while reducing the objectives the enemy can take in this situation can be much better than chasing yourself or entering a fight really late when you will probably end up dying and your team just ends up losing a lot more objectives. There is also the decoy play, or using the Herald later in the game in a side lane and then moving to an objective. Say you see that crucial Fire Draker spawning, and you can launch the Herald on the top lane if you happen to be in base, or maybe you just happen to be there clearing waves, and let her auto push and then move on down to the dragon yourself. You delay taking that dragon while the Rift Herald starts smacking towers, and now you can take the dragon safely, knowing at the very least you'll have a 4v5 fight should the enemy contest. And if they 5v5, you should get a couple of towers for your sacrifice. Hopefully you do actually win the fight. The main thing is to use the Herald for maximum impact during crucial moments in the game, and don't waste it when the enemy team can wave clear it because you have no minions with you and they're all defending the tower at the same time. Or at least when you can't 100% secure 1 tower push. Use it when you've been camping a lane, break open that first tower, begin to get deep vision and roam. Use it as a snowbally objective taking monster. Now, in a losing game, obviously having it simply to take a tower here or there or even do some crucial damage can buy your team time in a bad situation, but still make sure you are not using it when you can 100% secure tower anyway, or you have no waves or no pressure to really capitalize on that push. Use it with the goal of securing towers or getting important damage on an inhibitor tower. How your team plays around those waves and Herald is of course down to your team obviously, but you should still be able to give you a good haul overall. Now, as you just saw in that Maokai example, the enemy Nasus was top lane, Mundo had roamed down to help the push, and once Maokai's team started hitting that inhibitor tower, Nasus was forced to rotate, the enemy had to collapse to try and save that tower falling. Mundo and his team do fall back, but all the attention was brought to the mid lane. However, in Season 9, you have to ask yourself as a jungler, and the second point of this video is, how do we get the game to this stage that we can use the Rift Herald for such a nice play? The answer is camping, ganking, and lane pressure, as well as vision control, all the basics. Yes, I have talked about a lot of this in the Vi and Evelyn video, so I won't spend a lot of time reiterating everything, but make sure you are hard camping lanes. In that game as Maokai, the Nasus was punished over and over and over again, while also showing up in other lanes for counter ganks, for buff invades, and so on. The point is making that a focus of the game ends up leading to a very easy Rift Herald, which then leads to the push you saw earlier. Now, you need to make sure you know which lanes to gank, and I've done videos breaking down ganking and all the early game jungling for Season 9, so I'll leave them in the description for those who have more questions about this particular step. But repeat ganking, counter ganking, and ensuring your team has that first tower and first dragon can really make the game much easier for you to help carry and to win. So, how exactly does this make it easier for you to win? And that's this third point, which is probably equal in measure to the Rift Herald and very much synced together. And that's your ability to take objectives after kills. This is one of, if not the most valuable metric in solo queue, so much so that it actually has a place in your stats in the League client. Go and have a look at your stats now. In the last 10, 25, the whole season, last season, how does your number look? Especially compared to the average. Objective control and kill conversion ratio will tell you a lot about you as a player. Every time you have a numbers advantage, the vision control, you know where the enemy is, you win a skirmish or fight, you must ask yourself what objectives you can take. And by camping a lane, by getting that lane ahead as well as others with intelligent pathing, you can secure Rift Heralds and Dragons more easily, and you can have the tools to get that kill conversion rate up. Let's look at this Warwick and Kindred example, how you can use what I mean here to really grab a win, regardless of where the gold lead is and how you feel about whether or not you're going to win. The Warwick example is pretty straightforward. We have a slight lead, we've won a skirmish, we have a 1-3-1 split push, and by skirmish I mean we made a really nice pick thanks to this Thresh's excellent hook, and because of those numbers, the fact that there are 2 bot and Camille is now free on the top side, it's the great time to use that Herald. It's used so the minion wave is tanking the tower, the Herald maintains as much HP as possible for the next tower hit, while Camille is able to pick up the top inner tower on that side. Zed is shoving the bottom lane, and because of the Herald, multiple objectives are gained after 1 pick and force the entire enemy team to rotate, which gives you those windows to push up other side lanes, take their jungle camps, set up advanced vision, and that can easily snowball into another pick, into a Baron, and into a victory. Now in the Kindred example here, the top wave is set to slow push by leaving the last 3 caster minions up on the wave so that they can slowly stack and provide that wave pressure. The Kindred rotates down, and because of good vision control and wave management, can go ahead and begin soloing that crucial Fire Drake. The enemy Thresh wants to contest because he knows the game is in a fine balance and he has that excellent Karthus jungle on his team. Kindred chases down Thresh, the team is able to combine to take him out. Kindred's ultimate saves the Caitlyn and LB from certain doom, and Riven, because of the push on the bottom minion wave, has ditched the fight for that tower. Objectives after kills, even if it's a 1-for-1 fight. Now this game can look a bit one-sided, but they do have a Karthus jungle who is decently fed after a grueling and difficult game pressing that R button, and immediately, as Riven is forcing the enemy to deal with her because it's an inhibitor tower and inhibitor that are being threatened, Kindred pings and moves straight on over to the Baron. The enemy does a stupid thing and chases the Riven around, but because the LB and Caitlyn were that low HP after the fight, they didn't really consider the fact that they might attempt to take the Baron. As soon as Kindred saw that they would try and deal with the Riven, chase her around a little bit, plus having all 3 lanes pushing against them, the Baron just had to be taken. So what started as an original 1v1 fight in the jungle ended up with Kindred's team gaining a Fire Dragon, an Inhibitor Tower, and a Baron. The game was won in that instance by focusing on objectives after kills, and shows the importance of using the Rift Herald earlier to gain towers to set up that play by getting minion waves pushing in your favor so that you do have these opportunities when fights break out. Ganking lanes and keeping lanes at least equal or ahead, especially when your team isn't maybe auto-winning, all of this can coalesce into a game-winning moment. Focus on your objectives, focus on that early game pressure, and use Herald to bust games open, or at least use it to support a future play which can allow your team to get back into it if you are behind. I hope these 3 tips help you find more success in Season 9, no matter your role, even if it is a bit jungle focused. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something. Subscribe for more League of Legends videos coming very soon. Consider joining on YouTube to become an official member. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.